Get this.
Weekday mornings from 9
On Triple M.
Our co-host is comedian Craig Eagle. What about Boy George? Remember Boy George? Singer Boy George was threatened with prison yesterday for failing to complete a community service sentence because he wanted to do something less humiliating than raking leaves. Wouldn't anything be less humiliating than calling the cops to your house to report the theft of one of your 14 bags of cocaine? Which is what he did. Remember, that was the case.
Yeah.
That was the story. He's gone, one of my 14 bags of cocaine has gone missing. I'll get the police in to sort it out. They've come around, and they've gone, one of my bags is missing, and they've gone, well, who's these other 13? Not mine!
Oh, they're my friend, who's not here anymore.
He admitted to falsely reporting a burglary, avoiding more serious charges of drug possession, but now they want him to rake leaves, and he doesn't want to do that. His lawyer says if the singer were forced to sweep streets in a park, it would turn into a media circus, as opposed to the rest of his career.
And frankly, there are a lot more offences that he's committed over the years that he should have been charged with earlier.
Yes, that war song, for example.
Fashion sense.
George rose from supermarket shelf stacker to international pop star in 1982 with the song Do You Really Want to Hurt Me, which topped the charts in 18 countries. Culture Club went on to sell almost 20 million albums. Later, he made a new career as a disc jockey and idiot. There was a big protest in Melbourne yesterday. Well, there was protests all around the country, obviously, and against the IR legislation. But have a listen to Brian Boyd, the Trades Hall Secretary in Melbourne.
Don Howard is as welcome in Melbourne today as a yellow-bellied black snake at a barbecue.
It's getting worked up. So I think that anything on today's show can be described as...
A yellow-bellied black snake at a barbecue.
The funny thing is that that's his normal speaking voice.
What about the kids?
Give me a cup of tea, will you, love? I need a cup of tea.
And I have 2 sugars
A
and...
yellow-bellied black snake at a barbecue.
What about those kids with their fruit bazooka? Did you see that on the news?
I want to make one now.
Kids invented, they got a 2-metre section of, PVC piping. And I don't know what sort of technology they bunged in there, but they were able... Well, let's have a listen to the trajectory and range and capabilities of this weapon.
They fired oranges and potatoes up to 90 metres.
Wow.
And they were firing them at fruit bats in a public reserve.
Wow. I want to know how often Mal Walden uses that phrase. They fired oranges and potatoes at 90 metres.
Well, of course, the concept of doing that would be as welcome as...
A yellow-bellied black snake at a barbecue.
A cup of tea, love! But they had a couple of things about that story. First, I love it when you see moody young schoolboys who've been forced to wear a suit coming out of court, and they've already untucked the shirt and are sort of shuffling along so they look a bit cool, like maybe I'll look like the Strokes. And then the other thing is... the excuse. You know, what exactly was the reason for building a fruit bazooka? Of course, the answer is, sounds great. Sounds like a lot of fun.
The combination of 2 beautiful words.
A fruit bazooka. Just saying it is enjoyable. But listen to this.
The students say they're only testing out a physics theory.
Oh, that's a good one.
Of course.
See, anything could be a physics theory.
It's a learning experience.
I have to ingest this huge amount of marijuana because I'm testing a physics theory. Remember that one, kids.
I only wanted to check what the safe levels of pseudoephedrine are.
Oh, pseudoephedrine, that's as welcome as...
A yellow-bellied black snake at a barbecue.
Erection payout. There's a headline that grabs your attention. From Rhode Island, a former handyman has won more than $400,000 in a lawsuit over a penile implant that gave him a 10-year erection.
I saw this as well.
That's just high school, isn't it?
10 years. I mean, be someone who you'd want around when you'd need support for an idea. I mean, Dave likes the idea. Look. Look, Dave's enthusiastic. Check it out. Hey, Dave, come in here. See, Dave likes the idea.
Part of his reasoning in court, apparently, was that he could no longer hug people,
That's what it says.
ride a bike, swim, or wear bathing trunks.
Yes.
And my question is, how far into the 10 years did the riding a bike become difficult? Was it 2 years? Was it 8 years? Was it the 3rd Tour de France? He went, no, stuff this. This is uncomfortable. I'm going to give this the flick.
Gee, I'd like to be riding a bike. Yes, Dave, we can see you'd like to be riding a bike. You're very enthusiastic about the idea of riding a bike.
But he's very popular going camping now. And if you need to change a tyre in the car, he's always there.
He became a recluse, and his lawyer says he is uncomfortable being around his grandchildren. Or fine china, I'm guessing. But anyway, keep an eye out for that bloke. You won't be able to miss him. Richard Marsland,
How's it going, Tony?
what have you done? What are you on?
How do you mean?
I don't mean illicit substances.
Okay, I'm high on life. But
Some kind of TV program. People tell me if you go to the Internet Movie Database and
Yeah.
you look up your page, you're a smart-ass kid
oh,
in some old Australian film.
no, I think I'm officially class wag in... remember the Winners series on the ABC?
Sort of.
Well, one of them was filmed in South Australia by Mario Andriacchio and was written by Morris Gleitzman called Second Childhood. And I had to pipe in with a couple of smart-ass comments from the back of the room, and I actually appeared on the cover of the book, which was really nice.
Class wag.
I was about 14. So,
Hey, I recognise that sound. It's Santo Cilauro.
Good morning.
He was the Hoon advisor on Triple M years ago.
And that was my cousin Enrico on piano accordion.
Where have you been? Germany.
I've been to Germany.
Doing a proper World Cup update for actual radio programs.
For radio programs, I've been writing a few things. I've been corresponding. It's been a dream. How can I say?
Come true?
Come true. Yes. Sorry, I started channeling Gino then at a certain point, but it was one of those things where I've been going to World Cups before, as you know, Tony.
Yes.
And I've always dreamt of Australia being there because I've always had to follow Italy because
Right.
So
So do you barrack for both sides?
No. Once your team is there, it's like forget about all the others. So to see Italy play Australia, absolute dream come true. I couldn't believe it was actually happening. I cried. I did all that stuff after the Croatia game, which is possibly the greatest game that Australia's ever played because it got us to the final 16. It'll go down in history as possibly one of the great games. So I'm sitting there, just watching the players go by. There's a tear in my eye, all that kind of stuff. I was just pretty overcome. I'm talking with a photographer, and I feel this big hand come on my shoulder. I turn around, and it's Mark Bazooka, captain of the Australian team.
Right.
I turn around, Mark, how you going? Oh, mate, you here, mate? I was just thinking about you the other day, and you're here, mate. Oh, fantastic! That's just great that you're here. That's fantastic. I'm going, Mark, I've got to tell you, I'm just right this moment. It's 20 minutes since we've qualified, since you've led Australia to the final 16 glory. I'm overcome. Can I tell you what it's like to feel Australian today? I'm proud of you. We're all proud of you. All Australia's proud of you. And he's looking at me, giving me the wind-up. He's just nodding. He's just going, yeah, yep. And I'm going, so that's all I wanted to say. He goes, mate, do you have any Late Show tapes on you?
Is that right? Now, there was something about this in the paper. He was trying to track down The Late Show. What, he's just a big barge-ass fan?
Well, I think he's a fan of everything because I'm standing there and going, with a tear in my eye going, hang on, Mark. We've just qualified for the final 16. He goes, mate, we are going nuts in camp. You got the castle? You got anything? You got anything on you? And there's me going, I don't usually carry around stuff, as I travel around the world on me. He's going, oh, mate, because can you send something to me, please? Anyway, he gets ushered off by the press conference guy to meet the international TV people. There's a whole section with all the cameras pointing at him. He walks there, the cameras start flashing and switching on. He makes a U-turn, comes back and says, mate, that sketch you did when you went to your uncle's place, that was an absolute killer, mate.
I still get people asking me about that. That's like 13 years ago or something.
Yeah.
How is that bloke travelling these days?
He's not.
Oh, is it really?
No, he's passed on to a different brightly coloured lounge room in the sky somewhere.
Oh, God.
No, but he's fine. I mean, that was the man I affectionately called Uncle Alberto.
Yeah.
A wonderful guy. No, his wife and his family still live in Glenroy in the house.
Wow,
Yeah,
it's now a mausoleum.
It's. I don't think they've repainted over the top of the fake logs on the on the outside of the balconies, and certainly the Michelangelo type ceiling is still there. Hasn't been retouched.
People constantly just yell stuff from the Late Show to me, and all I think of is what we were wearing.
Oh, yes.
That's the worst part. You want to put something on and go, hey, check this thing out. Was acid wash that colour?
It's what the year is 2006. You're in a train in Germany or wherever you go in Germany, and people are quoting Late Show stuff, and you're going, has my life since then been so insignificant? It's almost like my friends at uni going, I remember you when you used to be funny. And you're going, hang on, university reviews? That's 20 years ago.
Now, you say that they're looking for tapes of stuff like that. Is that because of the bizarre quality of German television? Because every time he called Ed Cavalier, he was watching some kind of strip show on at midnight.
There is, I think, strangely enough, I caught up with with Billy Brownless, and he summed it up. He said, it's Germany is piss, pork, and porn. that's all it is.
Piss, pork, and porn.
Yeah.
Well, a man who's been competing with our friend Snato Garrow here for the most informed World Cup update on radio, Ed Cavalier.
I was trying to catch up with him over there. I wanted to have a meal with him or something.
Yeah.
And he just...
That's the best way to get him, usually.
Well, actually, you mightn't have been to Germany, Tony. Maybe a meal in Germany is probably not the best way to catch up with somebody.
Could I have less umlauts with my Gestinkel?
Honestly, I have eaten schnitzel that belong on the nose of the space shuttle. They are impenetrable. They are impervious to anything at all.
They're vulcanized.
Oh, my God. Trevor Marmalade and I ate at a place called the Visa's Brauhaus.
Trevor Marmalade overseas.
I know, it's
I just
really
cannot
weird.
picture that. I
I
just
know.
imagine that he lives at that
bar.
mantelpiece that he
Well,
leads on.
we spent 2 or 3 hours out, and then he said, I might go back to the hotel. We were staying at the place called the Bogan House.
Really?
Trevor and I at the Bogan House.
Oh,
The
look,
Bogenhausen, it was called.
we're just not providing enough
We ate
content.
at a restaurant that whose motto, I swear, is remember, the best parts are the offals.
That's also the catchphrase for this program.
If you're in Munich, go to the Visa's Brauhaus, where you can have pork's liver, but not just any pork's liver, it's sour pork's liver. Not just the sweet stuff. Or
God.
you can have calf lung, sour as well.
Calf lung?
Yeah, or number 149, the goose lard. And I honestly, Nikki punched it up on the web. You can actually go to the menu, wiesesbrauhaus.de, and it's hilarious. So it is an hilarious menu. You can get calf's head, calf's feet. They actually cook every part of the beast. There's actually a refreshing cattle soup. There is. It's cattle soup.
Wow, that sounds great.
Wieses, WEISSES Brauhaus, which is a beer house. Geez, you should have seen Trevor and I. We were sitting there going, what are we going to eat here?
There's never been a better time for German food.
Cow udder fried with tartare sauce.
Oh, I could murder a cow udder.
What about brains? Do they have
They
brains?
have brain. And I'm telling you, every single part of the beast is slaughtered and eaten.
I cannot
The beast is
ever.
slaughtered, and then all the stuff is cooked.
Brains, can't cop the brains. I always think, what if they're still thinking?
They're thinking, I'm being eaten.
Stop swallowing me. That's not on. I've just got to mention the passing of a great Australian, John Hind, the film
Yes.
critic who was 92.
sad.
I remember him, John Hind on the ABC. It was that thing where he never liked to bag a movie.
No, never.
And one night I noticed in the TV guide he was having to show a double feature, and I think it was Letter to Three Wives, proper film, and then Breakfast in Paris, the classic Australian...
That one.
oh,
I know.
How would you describe it? Rod Mullinar's in it. That's a thumbs up.
It's Pacific Banana set in Paris.
It is. It's from the guy who made Pacific Banana, John Lamont. Right. And I remember him I met John Lamont, and he goes, yeah, when the script was written, it was breakfast in ... and we're going to fill in wherever we could get contra to. But so John Hind was having to I'm going, how is he going to say something good about Breakfast in Paris? Like, even he's going to have to break his rule and bag a movie.
And?
He's come out with, tonight we've got a great double feature. A Letter to Three Wives is one of the finest melodramas of the 20th century. The same cannot be said of Breakfast in Paris.
And that's it.
That was as near as
that's
he got
beautiful.
to bagging a film. So,
Oh, God rest him. That's great.
Chappelle Corby's hair is on the internet. Did you hear about that?
What?
She cut all her hair off and buried it
Yes.
in what was described by onlookers as a strange religious ceremony, but what I'm calling a half-hearted escape attempt. I mean, technically, that's part of you tunnelling out, isn't it? What else has been going on? See, current affairs. Obviously Frontline. Is that part of the syllabus now?
It certainly was. I don't know whether it still is, Tony. I've lost track, but it certainly was part of the VCE, HSC, Year 12. Yeah.
In the days that you did Frontline, I always say the difference was the current affairs programs were sort of pretending to be actual current affairs programs, weren't
Yes,
they?
yeah, that's right.
It's sort of been abandoned, that idea now, hasn't it?
I believe the word mutton dressed as mutton comes to mind.
There's a lot of political correctness gone mad, seems to be the main topic of current affairs programs these days.
Yes.
I've got an example here. This is one that I recorded off TV.
Listen, can you hear that? That humming? Yeah, well, that's a dustbuster. That's been stuck up my ass for 2.5 weeks now, and what do you know? During that time, the warranty's expired.
And you can understand his frustration, can't you? Now, if you needed further proof of how political correctness is being taken to ridiculous extremes, how about this?
This is Dr. Dick Fanny von Bessie, not his real occupation, the notorious Nazi pornographer and arms dealer banned from over 55 countries and the subject of 19 competing extradition orders on charges of extortion, sexual enslavement and supplying an unfeasible quantity of alcohol to a minor. Here's Dr. von Bessie clearing customs at Sydney Airport on Thursday of last week. You'll notice no one bats an eyelid as this self-confessed baby trader, genocidal maniac and musical plagiarist strides unhindered through the arrivals lounge, past ordinary Aussie battlers completely oblivious to his history of drug abuse, stock fraud and a depraved adherence to a code of sexual behaviour abandoned centuries ago due to the high rate of asphyxiation. But look again. Someone spotted him. There's a murmur in the crowd. He's being taken aside. Could it be because this unrepentant harbinger of filth, manslaughter and black market ballistics just happens to be wearing a T-shirt depicting a harmless Enid Blyton gollywog? Yes, it seems no one is safe from the forces of political correctness. Did our diggers fight and die on the Kokoda Trail to protect a society where a simple lunatic with a string of psychosexual episodes, failed businesses and botched transgender surgeries to his credit can no longer wear a shirt depicting an innocent child's nursery story? Today, Dr. Dick Fanny von Bessie. Tomorrow, who knows who the ideological thought police and their squad car of political correctness will choose to mow down next. Probably a young child.
Yes, does that mean if your name is Dick, Fanny or Bessie that the political correctness squad is going to ask you to change your name? Well, if you know of any other cases of political correctness gone mad, please leave the details on our website.
Dear Today Tonight, I'm sitting here typing you an email in the nude. As nude as I was in my office this evening when I was shocked to see my secretary recoil in horror as I merely offered to open a door for her. I shudder to think of what our Aussie diggers would think of a land where the armed forces of political correctness have caused a simple act of noble, if bollock-naked chivalry to be rendered offensive. I'm sure the young madam will see reason, and possibly my genitals, when Dame Political Correctness is finally and rightfully ushered from the room. Yours in remand, concerned viewer.
Greg Fleet is our co-host this morning.
And I'd just like to say, watching Tony Martin run across the room, slide into a roller chair and roll up to the microphone and go, that, my friends, is a professional right there.
Well, I wrote down a few tricks when Bert Newton was in here last week.
I noticed there's crosses on the floor where the chair rolls too. Like, it's just perfect sort of timing.
It's everything is worked out in advance on this program. Every time I go, that's been scripted.
Yep. Been touring in country WA.
Right.
And it's kind of weird. It's like the slogan for that area should be, I came for the mining, but I stayed for the racism. It's just so intense. But, we actually lived in a compound in one town, and they said, you've got to be back by 10 o'clock because that's when we shut the gate. And I'm a bit of a rebel, and I said, well, what if I get back after 10? And the woman went, no one ever has.
Why are the comedians living in a compound?
I don't know. I have no idea, but it's just like, it's like I couldn't work out if it was to keep them out or to keep us in. It was very weird. But compounds and, after a while, it just was. I was going mad, and I actually went to the bottle shop using the theory when in Rome. But the guy in the bottle shop went, "You're off TV." And I said, "You've got no idea how off TV I am."
Now, look, you are still on TV to an extent, Greg Fleet.
Sometimes.
Because my wife reckons that's your voice doing a plasticine golden Labrador.
Hey, what do you mean plasticine golden? That's a real dog. I am the yellow dog from the Home Hardware ads. It may be plasticine to you, my friend, but to me, that is canine to the bone.
My wife is so into sandy-coloured Labradors.
Well, that's my name in the ad.
And how cute they are that, like, she can even get impressed by one that's made out of plasticine. Oh, it's so cute.
It's the voice that she likes, Tone. It's the voice.
There you go.
Oh, it's great. It's a great job. I won't go into Bunnings. I mean, I've got nothing against Bunnings, but I'm a yellow dog Home Hardware man.
Yeah, but aren't Bunnings also represented by a sandy-coloured Labrador to some extent?
Shh, don't tell anyone. I've got 2 gigs. to some extent, yellow or sandy-coloured Labradors to me represent tools and home improvement of all kinds, really.
And toilet paper, too,
Absolutely.
if you notice. Pretty
Absolutely.
much any product can be improved.
by the use of yellow or sandy-coloured Labrador.
Tiny sandy-coloured Labradors.
Oh,
you
good.
watch John Howard, the next election. Vote for me and you'll get a sandy-coloured Labrador. Forget about the IR legislation. Look at this pup.
Ich bin ein sandy-coloured Labrador.
Hey, you've been in a compound. Any turkey slapping going on in the compound?
Not as such, but I was kind of looking for some. But I was at one stage standing at the stage door of a theatre in country WA, and there's 2 guys drinking in the car park about 50 metres away.
Right.
And one of them said, one of them looked over and he was with his mate, and he went, "Oi." Now, I had a hat on, right, a normal hat, and this guy went to his mate, "Oi, check out that dickhead. He's got some weird shit on his head." I went, "I don't want to be all big city or anything, but we call it a hat." You know?
He's obviously one of them city slickers.
Ooh, hat boy. I'm being a bit of a rock historian. A lot of people might not know this, but Jim Kerr from Simple Minds was actually responsible for bringing down the Whitlam government in
Really?
1975. Yes, he was not only the lead singer of Simple Minds, but if you notice any pictures of the Governor-General of Australia around that time, he's crouching down. Yep, giving it a bit of that.
So he dismissed the government from a crouching position.
From a crouching, exactly. The only time in history that a government has been dismissed from a crouching position.
And by someone from the New Romantic movement.
Absolutely. That's Kerr's Kerr. It was the, well, may you say, God save the Queen.
Yeah.
He goes, "Nothing will save Simple Minds," was the original quote by Gough. And it got changed over time, of course. You know.
Well, may you say, when you walk on by.
He goes, "Nothing will save." And you see my name.
I voted New Romantic for years.
Did you?
Yeah. It was the voting booth had hexagonal drums in it.
Everyone was so excited. Like, the Romantic movement was fine,
Yeah.
but it was very stale. And then suddenly, when Tony Blair came in, New Romantic. It was all, you know, it was exciting.
Secretary of State Howard Jones.
Oh, absolutely.
Meeting foreign dignitaries and going, "Like to get to know you well." Are we still on air, do you think?
And where were they going to have the summit? Wasn't it Vienna? Oh, okay.
What is going on this program today?
It's my fault. It's always my fault.
What about the Mistress of Disguise? Have you been, defrauded yet by the mistress? She's getting around. She's Australia's most elusive criminal.
I think I have, but I'm not sure because she's so good at what she does. Yeah. And I couldn't tell if it was her or not, but I'm pretty sure I have.
Jodie Harris, that's one of her many aliases. She's passed herself off as a doctor, a flight attendant, a businesswoman, the niece of slain underworld figure Mario Condello, and James Blunt actually filled in for him for 3 weeks.
She actually, I was wondering about that. You know, she did one really clever thing. She rang the police, I don't know, in Queensland or something, and said, "All right, I'm that woman, and I want to hand myself in. I'm sick of this life of crime and everything," and basically got from them what they knew about her. And they said, "Well, look, we know you've done this and this and this." And then she went, "Thanks for the information. See you later." And they were, "Oh, you got me with your clever wordplay."
Lousy, stupid mistress of disguise. But she's...
Ow! I pulled my own headphones off.
That often happens.
Oh, no one's ever made me laugh so much that I ripped my own headphones.
Otto Pfister will do that to you. Here's a case from Adelaide. Now, I've got to be careful because this is still in court. I don't want to comment on the case itself, just the bloke's name. Have a listen to this. An Adelaide concreter who used the name of Bon Jovi guitarist Richie Sambora to allegedly defraud banks and financial institutions of $37 million in loans, has denied the charges. Romeo Pacifico, why would you change your name?
Oh, absolutely.
I'd love to be Romeo Pacifico.
Pacifico is fantastic.
You could put out a series of albums reminiscent with Romeo Pacifico.
Concrete with Pacifico, we're terrifico.
See, why didn't he stick with that?
Because by going Richie Sambora, the concrete pourer. See, either way, you can't go wrong.
Why would you change your name from Romeo Pacifico?
I wouldn't.
He's a graduate of the Idiotech. He legally changed his name to Richie Sambora.
Legally?
Yeah, it's all above board. And anyway, then it goes on to talk about the 86 charges. We can't talk about that. We don't want to talk about that. We know nothing. But a concreter called Richie Sambora. Would you do that? Would you change your name? Hello, I've come to see about your plumbing. It's me, Gary Newman.
The guy comes to do the concreting and doesn't do a very good job. And someone walks out, I'm disgusted with this. I want to see your boss. Get me John Bon Jovi right now.
Mate, who've you had there? You've had Stephen Tintin Duffy through here. Who's done this driveway? Howard Jones?
I love it. Just for no reason, changing, I reckon that the 86 charges may well be the 86 tracks off the albums that John Bon Jovi have put out.
Marty Sheargold in the sidecar today. Marty, so many inquiries whether you're still available for pyrotechnics after
Certainly am. I'm a Flashpot specialist.
What was the last gig you did? I mean, Van Halen.
Bon Jovi, Rod Laver Arena.
Right. Is that when they were coming down on the Flying Foxes?
Certainly was.
For living in a prayer? Or on a prayer, pardon.
Well, what was controversial about my early Flashpot work was that Lordy at Eurovision did a lot of this gear, but I was one of the first guys to do it, which is attach a Flashpot to the neck of the guitar.
Really?
A lot of bands have tried since, some with mixed success, but certainly Lordy really hammered it when they won Eurovision this year. But prior to Lordy getting on the Flashpot on the neck of the guitar, that was some of my earliest gear.
So when people do that, they might just say, "Oh, let's do Sheargold on this one."
Yeah, let's gold it up.
Listen to this story over the weekend. It was the bulge in his groin that alerted customs officers as the passenger was about to board a flight from Sydney to Bangkok. Pressed for an explanation, Wayne Frederick Floyd aroused further suspicion when he told the officers, "I have a hernia. Sometimes one of my testicles rises."
Well, so far so good.
A strip search revealed 6 eggs hidden inside a stocking in his underwear.
Hello.
2 of the eggs were damaged, but the other 4 were immediately taken to Taronga Zoo for hatching and turned out to contain cockatoos and galahs, both of which are on the endangered species list.
Budgie smugglers. Quite literally budgie smugglers.
Yeah. But imagine that. So you've got 6 eggs hidden in your underpants, and you're going to try and pull that off as... Oh, malfunctioning plums.
My problem is...
That's all that is, officer.
I mean, that's just 2 massive nuts. Sorry, sir. Can I board, please? I can't get any of that sort of stuff happening with the size of my two testicales, Tone. They're massive, you know what I'm saying?
They're ostrich eggs.
They are. Undies, your normal undies. No, I've had to say to Mum, stop buying me undies because you don't get it. I'm a man. She had me in kids' undies for years. It was weird.
What is the Sheargold V?
I started buying my own undies, Tone.
What is the Sheargold V? My wife's told me to ask you about the Sheargold V. Is this some fashion item you're selling on your show?
The Sheargold V?
You can't even remember talking about it.
I'm not sure what it is, Tone.
You take no notes, do you?
It's my body shape. Yeah, it's my body shape.
Oh, right.
Because I want... Nicolas Cage went through a stage where he wanted his waist the size of a snake. He was actually quoted as saying, I want my waist to be the size of a snake.
Right.
And that's when I invented the Sheargold V, because I'm massive upstairs in the upper body.
Sure.
And then I cut down, I chiseled down to what I call the Sheargold V. I chiseled down to a waist the size of a badger.
Is that lifting all the flashpots that gets you to that weight?
Flashpot lifting, and Fee sitting on my lap helps. It works my abs.
That's how the show operates. I just think, look, if you're smuggling birds' eggs, is the swollen testicle really the answer? I mean, so basically what you're saying is, well, there's 2 of them there, and there's another 4 coming in behind.
Yeah.
It's not a convincing scenario.
No, it's not. Not once you get the duds off. It's fine if you got pants over the undies, but when you can see 5 or 6 lumps in a man's pants, you know that he's packing more than 2 of anything in there.
He's probably smuggling galahs, not merely grotesquely deformed. Rob Mills, you know Millsy?
Millsy, yeah, of Vanity, what was his song?
Miss Vanity,
Miss
was it?
Vanity fame.
he had to go overseas because people were stirring him about, his relationship with Paris Hilton. He's gone to Germany, more stirring, beaten up, thrown in jail. Now, listen to this, the papers are shocked. His web diary's gone strangely silent.
Oh, no. Are they saying he's incarcerated or gone missing?
He's just lost it. He just can't do the web diary anymore. What was on there? You mean strangely silent? What was actually on there? Nothing.
Had a beer yesterday. Guys in the band haven't rung. What's that about?
Being stirred again. Rightfully so, I guess.
Mum reckons I should go to Germany. I might just do that.
Haven't accepted I'm an idiot yet, but can only be a matter of days away.
But it's bizarre that he wanted to get away from Aussies and then he went to Germany.
Who's checking it? Who's going there every day?
It's hard to keep up the blogging on the Who Scout.
You should go there every day and do a Millsy update. I mean, that's the sort of thing you could do. Whereas I would have to turn a computer on. Actually, I'd just get someone else to do it and give me a hard copy. But
that's a job for Ed Cavalier when he gets
get
back.
Ed onto it. He loves that kind of gear.
Yeah, well, there's no sign of him as yet.
Millsy. Oh, Ed might have seen Millsy. They were both in Germany at the same time.
We have no confirmation that Ed was ever in Germany.
Oh, really?
I think he's just hiding out in Bondi somewhere, mistress of disguise style, sleeping with a range of women who are impressed by his new status on the Rager. That's what he's up to. Oh, God, where am I pretending to be from? I'll say Prague. Just quick text me some information about the World Cup. We have no evidence that he was ever in Germany.
They were hardly exclusives. He was pretty much just telling us what you could find out in the paper.
You want to get Jodie Harris on as a regular. I reckon she'd be a top correspondent for the shebang.
Yeah, she would be.
Now, what's her name, though? Because we've gone with Mistress of Disguise, as have many of the papers. Some are going with Catch Me If You Can Bandit, which we feel's been done. There was that film.
Yeah.
The Contra Queen. That's
Contra Queen.
the one the Australian are backing. And now, over the weekend, the Sydney Telegraph have busted out Madam Con.
Madam Con. As in the fruiterer.
As in Marika.
The alter ego.
Let's just call her Marika from now on.
Marika.
What about this? She's been, over the weekend, she wants everyone to see that she's wearing her love for her boyfriend, Andrew Twining, the policeman, on her body. She thrust her left hand out of the window of the enclosed dock at Sydney Central Local Court to reveal the name Andrew tattooed on the inside of her wrist. He's got a matching tattoo on his ass. Right cheek, exactly the same, she yelled out.
Jesus.
Andrew Twining, why isn't he here? Ask the officers where he is. He's being protected by police, said Madam Con.
Now, Tone, is it true that he eventually got round to dobbing her in?
He dobbed her in. He told the police that his girlfriend was in Irish pub Scruffy Murphy's. And if you had a look at the Mistress of Disguise, she is a bit of a Scruffy Murphy.
Yeah, I could imagine finding her at the Murphs, the Scruffsters. She's rough as, isn't she? Round the edges, particularly. She's ordinary. She dobbed him in quick, though, didn't she? As soon as she was in the van. Find out where my boyfriend is.
He's
got thanks, love.
A tattoo on an ass.
God, she dobbed him in too quickly. It's un-Australian. It's a bit Irish, in fact.
Why? Okay, matching tattoos. He's got it on the ass.
She's gone in her wrist.
What's that? How is that matching tattoos? That's not matching.
I mean, I could think of a couple of scenarios where it might have unfolded that way. None of them are suitable.
They'll all be happening in prison. There's so much to get to on Big Brother this morning and the controversy of whether it's, perverting our morality. We'll be talking about that soon. But Matt Dower, who builds all the sketches on this program, does a fine job, taped a fantastic discussion on Big Brother. You know, people say that they're stupid in that house, Marty.
No, I find that hard to believe.
I don't believe it at all. Have a listen to this discussion.
6 or 1, half a dozen of the other.
What's that mean?
6 or 1.
No, it's 6 of 1.
No, it's not. It's 6 or 1, half a dozen of the other.
You're joking, right?
No, I'm not. I'm serious. All right.
That doesn't make any sense.
No, 1 half a dozen of the other.
It's 6 of 1 means 6 of 1, half a dozen of the other. Means that they've both contributed. Man, my dad can say
Hear
I know
this
what it
out.
means.
All right, hear this out. 6 or half a dozen. It's the same. So you go 6 or 1 half a dozen of the other.
Or 1 half a dozen.
Yeah, of the other.
Well, that's not how it's supposed to be said.
See?
Oh, Tone, that's mind-numbing.
Maths, philosophy, science.
How's the guy who eventually just, at one point, just goes, "You're joking." Was the guy saying he believes it's 6 or 1
Yes.
half dozen
of the other?
Yeah. Who is that? He should be evicted immediately for being simple and made to sit with Gretel's daughter and choose what she'll be wearing on the next episode.
He was trying to explain it to the other bloke.
Yeah.
He was drawing a diagram, but he couldn't see properly because he did have the other bloke's testicles covering his eyes. What about this, though? More Big Brother bombshells over the weekend. Big Brother insiders have revealed the show's sleazy casting calls involving nudity and abuse.
No. What, they make them get nude?
Apparently, former housemate Heath Tournier said that potential players must parade nude for Big Brother producers.
You're kidding.
The audition process also calls for hopefuls to spout abuse and perform lap dances. Maybe it was just his. I don't know.
Maybe he just pulled the short straw at the end of the day. The producers had a few wines and thought, right, I'll tell you what I'm going to do with this bloke, guys. Gather round. Seriously, don't tell him when he comes in. Make him go nude and do a lap dance on Susan.
And spout some abuse at the same time.
What is going on?
But listen to what Tournier says. I feel comfortable nude, so I walked around nude as part of the audition. The producers want to know what contestants look like nude. I cannot say whether they're looking for anything specific, but they call that part of the audition the nudie run.
Oh, yeah, they try and disguise it as some sort of fun, wacky student term, when in actual fact it's a group of middle-aged people looking at nude young people, going, cool, get them in the show. She'll have a shower without a top on.
It sounds all very Abu Ghraib in there at Channel 10, doesn't it?
Any Hessian sacks?
Battery
cables?
In a growing shame file, former housemates say turkey slapping is actually rife in the Big Brother house.
You're kidding.
Females often use their breasts to retaliate to the turkeys. Producers deliberately cast well-endowed males and busty females. They don't encourage or discourage you to have sex, says former contestant Igor Vermeski. But there are condoms in the first aid kit in case of emergency. If that isn't a single, I don't know what is.
Has anyone ever had sex on the Big Brother show? I mean, there was the unfortunate doona arrangement.
That's right, the dancing doona.
The dancing doona thing with, I think, was it Peter Timms?
I'm not sure who it was.
I think, I can't remember.
Either can I.
But no, I don't think anyone's ever gone the whole... There was the G-string in the rewards room bath incident
That's right.
went a bit pear-shaped for a couple of them. And then they all come out and go, nah, didn't do it.
Yeah. But it happens overseas. Like, was it in the Netherlands? It was 25 minutes after the start of episode 1. The contestants were already on the job.
You'll do.
Quick! There's only 6 months in this house.
I mean, you really put your cards on the table early. I mean, you're 25 minutes in, yet you and me in the kitchen now. I mean, what if in week 2 you just realise you've made the biggest mistake of your life, Galen style? Oh,
Okay.
Tone. Look, it just goes from worse to worse for Channel 10 and Big Brother. If they're seriously auditioning people in the nude, that is a serious issue.
Are other shows doing that? Do you know? Peter Roseland's Can We Help? Is that, do they have nude auditions for those panellists?
Einstein Factor, I'm fairly sure Pete Burner makes some of the guys do a bit of nude gear.
Mikey Robbins, he'll just parade around nude for no reason.
Loves nude gear. He did a nude run at Bondi once.
Get this
Weekday mornings from 9
on Triple M.